Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, grasshoppers. Yes, it's time for more weekend training, as the weekdays have more or less kicked me in the tuchus with the oldest daughter coming home, etc. Got the ugly green chess.com board. Maybe I will change it in a minute. I don't know, though. E.T. I should give him a chance to beat me here. Let's do that. Somehow I am 7 and... We're going with this way. Normally, I don't play it that way. But we will see. We will see. We will see. What? Can I go this way? I don't know if I can. This looks pretty sketchy. Looks pretty sketchy. What do I want to do with this fellow? I don't know, but we'll continue to try to win stuff, remembering that we do not have Berserk on. Uh-oh. Did I just get mated? It looks like it. I think I blundered. But I can't prove it. Maybe I can prove it. Now at least my rook on e1 is no longer hanging. So he doesn't have knight f3 check. Egads. A move that I would not have seen in my younger days. Queen from b3 to h3. I just would not have seen it. I don't see an answer to this. Well, we gave E.T. Borlick a shot at us. In game number 8. You beat a 21-10 ELO. Nicely done. It was 21-10. Let's check it out. Let's fix our board to something more palatable, like an ICC board. There we go. Much nicer on the eyes. Is he going for it? No, good. I'm glad we don't have an alien gambit on board, but this is actually quite good. I don't know if we had to play it that way, but this is a good demonstration of... Was he threatening mate? Did he think he was threatening mate? He was threatening to win the queen. That much is true. And now the queen could have blocked, but he doesn't want to trade queens. Can you believe that? He doesn't want to trade queens. Black has 3 minor pieces and white has 1 minor piece. And black does not want to trade queens. So now... Oh, it looks as though he could have been kaput after rook to d1, but this is a very typical mistake. And he's just going to push his pawn through. Oops. Are we up in material that much? Or are we not? I think this is the easiest. This has to be the easiest. All right. And now 2 minor pieces for a rook. It is still not easy. Going the wrong way. Yeah, perhaps. It would be good enough just to get this rook back into the game. Wow. And then he gets to remove the defender of... But we could have played rook takes b7, check, and then king takes. That would be a lot easier. This game certainly is dangerous. He doesn't try to get this pawn moving just yet. Uh-oh. And the pawn cannot be stopped. Crazy how hard he makes it. Mate in one move. Wow. Nicely done. ETC. Nicely done. Namaste, everyone. Please check out the amazing power of chess Informant. I have been using Informant this week in lessons. It has an incredible chapter, although, of course, it's a supplemental chapter on all the analysis that you probably have already looked at on the World Championship match between Gukesh and Ding. The name of the book, Informant 162, is Maneuver. I'm keeping that theme in mind throughout all of the games. It is quite easy to see that it is indeed the premier training publication of professionals. My rating is very misleading. People are not numbers. You definitely cannot go by that. There's no chance in the world that anyone will be a particular number at any time, at any place. Let's just make sure that we have our time set. Let me just make sure of it. And what else do we have here? We have to show our opponent the maximum amount of respect. We will be going with F5 later. Who were we watching this week who played the Dutch? I was very impressed. It wasn't Yesoon. It was a new streamer. Absolutely new streamer. Can't recall who it is off the top of my head. All right, so this is a common young player mistake, bishop to g5. We will see how it goes as I continue to send out the alarm, sounding the general alarm for students.
Infirmum
said, "Good morning."
Good morning. So let's see here. Do we take and then play queen a5? Yes. And then, who else do we have here? Cole? Do I take that way, or do I not? I feel like I should just play 94. Yeah, that looks good. All right, back to our normally scheduled programming. Who else do we have here? Team Gaw. Uh-oh, he moved. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe I should have just taken on the square that I should have taken on. Can't believe I wasted a full minute there. Let us keep attacking appropriately, inauspiciously, awesomely, grudgingly, begrudgingly. We'll see what we can get. We're still sending out the notice. Can we? I don't know. This way? That way? Possibly? This way? That way? I don't know. But it looks as though we can play C takes while we're taking advantage of the pin. Keeping him completely immobilized, just in case. Let's keep bothering him, just in case. Oh no, he hung his queen? Botez Gambit declined. Oh my god, I can't believe that happened, folks, in real life. That happened in real life. Somebody should be steamed. I'm not sure who it is. But someone should be steamed. Yes, that did happen. For a gain of 4 rating points today, folks. 4 whole rating points today as far as I know. Maybe 2. Let's check our profile to see the real overall average. It says we're up 6, but I doubt it. Tactics, tactics, and more tactics. That's really what we need. Who else do we need? Oh, yes. We'll get William in the place. Who else do we need? Ah, yes, that one. And that one, that one, that one. I think we've notified almost every student now. Gonna keep going. One more. Maybe they're in the traveling though. They might be traveling. I think they're back today. From Japan. Yes, they are back today. Lesson scheduled for today. We have that fellow already in it. Maybe I can send some emails. How about that? Let's do that. Every weekend at 8 a.m. Who else do we need today? Charles numero uno is still in battle. We can check him out. Opposite colored bishops. Yes. C5. Ideally. C6. Ideally. Maybe. Bishop D4. And if the wrong rook goes to C8, Bishop A7. Bishop D4. I don't know about this one, but yes, it'll work. Or will it? It will work. But we have no back rank weakness, so we're okay. Oh, that was a clever move. We're going to get out of it, though. Bishop takes. Much better. Much better. F5. As predicted. Who else do we need? RM. Did we need to do that? I don't know if we needed to do that. Dangerously close to death, doom, and destruction. But this is going to work. Doesn't look like it's going to work, but it's going to work. We have to take on e6 first. Then we can take on a7. Was that check really necessary? I'm still trying to figure that out. Technique, ladies and gentlemen. Technique. Or rook over? Just gotta step up. Step it up. No, don't go there. Watch out. This looks like it should be good, but it's a little sketchy. Cross and cover. Pawn to b4, bishop d6. Why did we go back instead of going forward with our king? We know what the next lesson is going to be about, though, that's for sure. It looks as though this will be fatal. This will be fatal. He needs to check to get his king, his rook protected, and then he gets to take this for free. Awkward. How free is it? We'll know in a minute. Not sure what Harpix is looking for here. That's a pretty dangerous move, but I still don't see the answer to this one. That's a simple enough answer as well, reaching the same square. But Harpix did have his chance with check and queen and rook takes c7. Let's see who's here. Oops. We did get that one out. We got that one out. We'll see. We will soon see what we're made of. It's a very slow event. This is the drawback too. Profitable Crows, good morning. How are you, bud? G'day, mate. We'll play a 4 pawns attack. We'll give it everything we've got. Isn't that interesting? He is decoying me. That much is true. I don't really want the A pawn, but they're supposed to sack the A pawn for the B pawn. I think that was a touch move error of sorts. Are we going to get a sealer sweeper in? The sealer sweeper is to take on e5 and play f5. Oh, we did get a sealer sweeper in. How much is it worth it? Takes, 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 takes. What in the world? Can I? Check, check, check. Knight check, bishop check, knight, bishop takes. Whoa. Whoa. So what do we take? Well, it takes with check. That is indeed a bummer. Peace coordination, or just peace. Infirmum. Namaste, everyone. By the way, if you've not yet followed, you do get text-to-speech on the YouTube channel. Looks like we have an inordinate number of bots. We do have to watch out for the number of bots. So we have... This game is still going, but at least white is up 2 pawns. How he got to those 2 pawns, I'll never know. So let's see what happened here. Wow, did black move the same piece so many times? I don't know if we really needed to do that. Bishop d3, maybe? But yeah, okay. Rook d3. Rook d3. Always looking for a better move. And then, of course, we run into that. But we do get this. I'm not sure why we didn't recapture with the pawn. We're going to get an outpost square, but okay. And we end up capturing with the pawn in a slightly less advantageous arena, but he allows us. And then here we did not play the move bishop to d4, trying to trap the rook. And this was actually quite good. And then here, I don't understand why we didn't move forward. Seems like a natural, right? You can't play king to c8 at any moment because of rook a8 check. Bishop c4 still runs into rook d6 check and drives the king away. Actually, bishop c4 after king e3 still runs into rook a7 with a very serious threat. But maybe it's not needed. And he didn't find rook to b6, which probably would have just ended things. Because there's no way to stop that. Let's wait for a new game. Let's see who we have here. We only have 16 at the moment. We do have LC at least in the house. Okay, we do have a little bit of a half an hour break in between lessons. Yeah, we're going to do the express track. The express track. We're going to do the express track of lessons. That's for sure. You can call me king. Seriously. Namaste. That's all I'm going to say. Namaste. Knight f6. Yes. We're going to play it the old-fashioned way because we haven't brushed up on our Netherlandish, our Hollandish. We will see, we will see. I do have a couple of interesting tomes. Oh no, not this mistake again. We have to give bishop g5 the full question mark. May run for coffee after this one.
Arakido
said. BG5ISNT that a main line.
It is a main line. If you don't like winning.
Arakido
said. Forget what it's called.
It's called the Leningrad variation. It's a favorite of a very young Boris Spassky, but it does achieve a slightly worse position. Or white can give up the two bishops on f6 for equality when they can. I believe that bishop g5, h6, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6 might just be equal. Well, this has suddenly gotten just a smidgen tedious, but maybe it's okay. There's a little bit of a math problem here. Just a little bit of a math problem. This is a common mistake in the math department. Just a wee bit of a common mistake in the math department. Profitable Crows getting one of the lions. Let's do it. Grab that space. No, 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 no. Now Bishop G5 is going to get into a spot of trouble. We're gonna have to barnacle Blackmist Knight to G4 to gain a positional advantage. But I think he's still hoping for the other thing. Which is not mate, because the king can go to D6, D3. Basically, Bishop G5, Knight E4 doesn't quite work. But maybe this does. But then Bishop takes F2 check. Oh no, you missed Bishop takes F2 check. No, Knight takes. And then Bishop takes H6. Oh my god, I can't watch. What are we doing here? As Arpad Elo, the originator and mathematician, Infirma Exult. We are out of coffee. It is official. We are going to be running for it. 1 second. I'll be right back. Where is my coffee emote? Darn it. There's one. All right. Coffee. Take me a moment. Let's make sure we didn't, okay, good. There, so. All right, and we're back. Oh no, I did stop the music. Please don't stop the music. I did stop the music and I didn't notice it. That's what I get for not streaming. Probably we're only going to be able to stream. Eric Keto, good morning, by the way. How are you, bud? At the moment, with my oldest daughter being home, this is the update. My oldest daughter is home. She had an accident, which involved a major leg injury. So she's hobbling around. And we are accommodating her for a short period of time until we can come up with a plan for her. And that way, I may or may not be streaming during the week.
Arakido.
Said. Good playing a lot of pool and chess.
Yeah, today I'm going to try to sandwich all of my lessons to Saturday when I can.
Arakido.
Said. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I actually might put a little bit of a notice in the Discord on what exactly happened.
Infirmum.
Said.
Why is it you?
Why is it you?
Infirmum.
Oh, come on.
I am scared.
I'm scared? No, you're infirmum. I don't have a scared on the roster. Let's go with this. Let's go with some mix and match. Have we played before infirmum? No. Why is it me? That is a good question. It's because you have a good result in Firmum. That's why. Now, I believe in the old ferocious opening repertoire rather than, to be honest, rather than playing Infirmum. What are we doing, sir? Never bother your opponent with a bishop check unless you really plan on it, to tell you the truth. Can I castle queenside? I guess I'm going to find out. Only because we're lacking a few pawn breaks. We're lacking just a few pawn breaks, it seems. Well, that's interesting. Can I bust up the Yankees? I don't know. Just a few words from our sponsor. Namaste, Infirmum. So basically, I'm trying to think of what went wrong there. That was a difficult opening, especially for me when I was younger. If you don't already have a plan to attack the center with c5.
Infirmum.
Said. That's about how I expected this to go.
Oh, Infirmum, you are better than you give yourself credit for. The rook on f8, I've often told many students, so you did the right thing. The rook on f8 is not as valuable as that bishop on h6. So it is often useful just to leave it be, gain time with other pawn breaks, which you attempted, perhaps the wrong pawn break, and always learn from your mistakes if you get a chance. Always learn from your mistakes. For example, in this particular instance, I'm supposed to be slightly worse after bishop g5, but I don't believe this number reflects the complexity of the situation or all of the transpositional possibilities in the future. Basically, a number like minus 0.2 encompasses an assessment of all of the following, however many ply moves deep, being played in perfect order. So the numbers are crunched by the analysis engine. Let's just say if it's 19 ply deep, that's 8.5 moves. All right, 19 ply deep is 8.5 moves, and it's assuming that the next 8.5 moves are played perfectly and in that order. So anything can go wrong along the way with the human element, and it makes it very difficult to understand what's going on here. And then we transpose directly into a French defense, and this move takes away your c5 pawn break in Furman. So in general, you might want to avoid that. I've had players play b6 or bishop e7 or knight on b to d7, all of which are designed to ensure a later pawn break with c5. I'm not even sure that the Fort Knox variation, which is really passive, considering that it takes you 2 moves to get the bishop to c6, when you could have played b6, and you still don't have a c5 pawn break with that bishop sitting on the c6 square. I'm not a big fan of this Fort Knox variation. So in any event, down here we click on Learn from your mistakes, and it says no mistakes for white. Review black's mistakes. This was probably one of the critical ones. But it's basically hard to improve on -4 if that was your first mistake, right? If that was your first real mistake, that's hard to believe. Obviously, we had to play this in this manner so that we could answer queen e4 with f5. Do it again. That was your only mistake according to this engine. It's totally bogus. I disagree. There were so many mistakes. I wish we could have a setting for learn from your inaccuracies. Learn from your inaccuracies. Do we have any Lee Chess mods here to try to bring that one to the fore? I don't see our normal Lee Chess mods. Profitable Crows may be the closest we have to a Lee Chess mod. If that's true, Profitable Crows may know what I'm going through with my daughter. She has a really brand spanking new wheelchair. Right now it's sitting in the car as she headed off to,
Said. I felt like I messed up way earlier. I wasn't used to that attack and got destroyed.
Yeah, I apologize. That's usually when I haven't played anyone before.
Thank you for going over it. I learned some things from that 3.
No, it's key. Especially since it's the first time we've ever played. But in general, your goal is to either A, fight for the center or hold the center. I do not recommend openings that give up the center. So for example, an opening that gives up the center is like the Scandinavian defense. When you give up the center, then you miss out on a whole range of learning opportunities that are absolutely essential to you. With that first round berserk, I seem to have avoided any possible ties. Again, Infirmum, I don't know if you've studied any of the great players. Name one really great player whose games you've studied at least 100 of. I remember most recently I was studying increment. The last time I reached peak rating categories in at least 2 out of 3 was when I was studying Kramnik's games. That was shortly before his lunacy came out, and it sort of soured me on continuing to look at the greatness of his chess. It was really unfortunate. Even Bobby Fischer, I have a little bit of a hard time looking at his chess as objectively since he went off the deep end in his later life. But when I was younger, I ate it up. Basically, with the help of Bobby Fischer, Capablanca, and Alekhine, I soared well over 2,000 to knock on the door of 2,200. And then I went through a countless number of Petrosian games, and then I learned to live within the rules and not try to make things happen like Alekhine would. Alekhine would have a very dynamic influence.
Said. I studied a few Miguel S. Nadorf's games but less than 5 and a few of Fischer's games because a friend of mine had a magazine of his games.
Well, if you can, I almost guarantee, almost absolutely guarantee that you will benefit from just going over the board any of the move-by-move books. If you can find on Amazon a used copy of any of Capablanca's games, I prefer those fellows. Lasker, Capablanca, basically because in those days the opponents made mistakes that we can relate to. That's the number one reason why you study the old classic games, because the opponents and the players dealt with concepts and maneuvers that are more related to the lower rated player. I had a Grandmaster Joel Benjamin and I, who've been relatively best friends for decades, had this discussion where we determined that we have our own styles. Of course, he wants to teach much stronger youngsters. And by teaching much stronger youngsters, he is, of course, interested and primarily involved with the better opening play that is not available. I probably could have taken advantage of the e5 square here, but I don't see it. I don't necessarily see it happening. Can I do that? I don't see it happening. I don't know what I was doing there. I had a clear advantage in that position, and I made one fast move, and I threw it all away. A clear advantage. Do I still have a clear advantage? I do not know. Let's just continue the assault on the d5 square. That's interesting. Takes. I think I should take it, but I'm not sure. Knight takes d5, knight takes d5. Bishop takes e4. Let's just keep on going. We're just going to keep improving our pieces.
said. Thank you for the advice. Studying those players does seem much more beneficial. I watch videos on YT of Magnus Nepo and other higher level players, then feel like I learn nothing.
No, it's true, because you're looking at like ridiculous amounts of perfection, and we cannot hold ourselves to this particular type of perfection. It's just not allowed, honestly. It really isn't. I mean, the odds of being able to play like that is craziness. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't even know where to begin. It looks like we're very close to threatening checkmate. He does have the right idea of trying to generate a kingside assault, but he has no attackers on the king side. That is the personal problem at the moment. So, are we going to get checkmated? That is the question. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get checkmated or not. So now, do we allow him to take on e3? Or do we continue with the threat? I think we just continue with the threat. Probably I didn't need to allow any of this counterplay. What is Charles numero uno up to? Oh no, my bishop. Will he see one threat? Will he see my threat? I think not. So really, in this particular position, I was threatening queen to e6 check in some reform, rook takes h7 check, queen takes g6, and queen h7 mate. But in this particular instance, we do a little stair-step maneuver to get to the key square. This looks like it will be our last game. In our game of 21, who can reach 21 points? Time is a factor. These two pieces just stayed out of the game the longest, unfortunately. There's just nothing to do with them. It's unfortunate. Sad, unfortunate, unnecessary. Unfortunately, there's just not enough time for another game. And I know that what you can do in a game is only partially limited by your knowledge, but mostly it will be fueled by your creativity and the ideas behind your moves. Absolutely key. GM Rauf Mamedov, for example. So if you have chess base in Firmum or access to chess base, this is the problem with most of the online databases, is that they show you only the most recent games. Even the chess base database only goes back to 1980 or 80X, but it doesn't show you Magnus Carlsen's games when he was young. And if you play through Magnus Carlsen's games from the time that he first started playing, which would have been around 2003, 2004. Oh, I take that back. He was already a Grandmaster in 2003. He was born in 1990, so around 1997. Let's just take a quick peek here. Wonder Boy, Magnus Carlsen. What is the earliest game? These games are in chess base. The earliest games are in chess base, and you can actually look at them quite nicely. So the earliest games in this particular book are from 2000, when he was 10 years old. But I believe you can get earlier games than that. Let's look at Fighting Chess with Magnus Carlsen. What is the earliest? This is also an amazing book, which I plan on using in lessons soon. All of the books in this particular Progress in Chess series is quite amazing. From Master to Grandmaster. So that's page 22. The earliest game in here is Georgi Kachishvili. Magnus Carlsen losing to Georgi, who teaches at the Marshall Chess Club here in New York City online. I don't think they have the insurance to teach on the premises anymore. The club got wise to the fact that if somebody got injured at the club during one of these camps, and having kids in the establishment does create that issue. Let's see here, page 22. The very first game is from 2003. He was already a master. And then there's Martin's Gambit. I think this is a Gambit book available on Amazon very, very easily. I don't know the earliest possible date because all of these look like they are from the modern era. These are the most instructive games, so they're not going to show his mistakes as much, unfortunately. I like how I think the author slips in his own games. He does, from the Ukrainian Championship. He slips in his own games. He shows an opening theme of Magnus Carlsen's. And then using the Russian spelling of Karyakin, or using a very loose translation of Karyakin without the J. Very interesting.
Infirmum.
Said. What book would you recommend to a beginner intermediate player?
Infirmum.
Well, unfortunately, some of the best books are out of print. But definitely Capablanca's Best Games. If you can find a book on Capablanca's Best Games, in fact, there was a great book by Capablanca, written by Capablanca himself. But I don't see it. I'm trying to recall the name. Oh, there it is. A Primer of Chess. I believe A Primer of Chess. But basically, Masters of the Chessboard, the 21st Century Edition. I enjoy Masters of the Chessboard. That gives you a little bit by Richard Reti. If you can find it in algebraic. Remember, a lot of these books.
If you have the title, I can probably buy it second hand.
I love the overall style of finding the players. Having a nice overall. Well, our tournament has come to a close, and Charles Numero Uno did catch up to me. And he berserked to try to do it. Why did he not get the full credit for the berserk? All right, so needless to say, another student just woke up. They're trying to get in the tournament now. C'est la vie. As it turns out, looks like it was a beautiful game. This is the other way of taking advantage of this particular line. Oops, and that's the end of the world as we know it. Is it because the game was so short? Oh. His opponent berserked. He did not berserk. Had he berserked, he would have had a chance to catch up. But I only have a few minutes, unfortunately, until my next lesson. Today is a full day of lessons. But definitely Capablanca move by move is a great place to start. And it's by a good friend and great author who makes things very entertaining, Cyrus Lakdawala. It's written in a format that you might enjoy. Lasker is written by a different All of the move-by-move blocks, basically. Lasker. Studying the games of the world champions is key. Just enjoy those that era of openings. In any event, try to set a small goal for yourself. Like, you don't have to play through every variation of every move in the book. As long as you play through the main line, through and through, observe the comments and the notes just to visualize what's happening on the board deeper and deeper each time you go through a new game. And then the most important thing is to get through the book from beginning to end, absorbing as many new ideas as you can. And once you get through the book from beginning to end, absorbing as many ideas as you can, the ideas that will stick with you will bring you back to them when you play a game, and you'll say, hey, I remember this. What in the world was this all about? And how come I couldn't take advantage of those weak white squares? I feel like I should have done that. Now, you may not remember the exact place in the book, but you'll remember the general area of the book. So start playing through that series of games again, even if you don't find the exact game. Replaying through the games, the repetition of the Levenfish method. I'm going to call it the Levenfish method because the woodpecker method was already done in the early Soviet era by doing repetitive tactics. I do believe in Chessable for the free books of chess tactics. Definitely check out Chessable. Chessable.com. You can find me as well on Chessable under the same name, and you can follow and look at all of the books in my profile, I believe. If you can't see my profile, let me know and I will fix it. So meanwhile, people that I know personally, I usually raid first. The closest to someone I should know personally is Catherine. And she is hosting a LeechChess.org stream. So I don't know which one is better to raid, to be honest.
Infirmum.
But I don't think I can raid LeechChess.org.
Thank you for the help. I've wrote down all the books. I'm going to check them out one by one. Your advice on reading and absorbing info is also helpful.
Now, the most important thing to remember is to work within your budget. Buy only one book and devour that book cover to cover. I was very lucky when I was younger because I came home. I had convinced my stepmother to buy one book for me. It happened to be The Complete Chess Player by Fred Reinfeldt, which was a great overall rules, strategy, opening principles type book. But in general, when I came home from school, maybe a month after learning chess from my cousin and being able to barely beat him at the end of a week to justify paying for the book, a $30 hardcover book back in the 1980s. But basically, I came home and she had purchased maybe less than 24 books, maybe a dozen and a half, roughly 12 or 18 books for 25 cents a piece at a local garage sale. So I had Bookvinic's 100 selected games. I almost had too many books. And since I don't know where to get any other books, I devoured those one right after the other. Alucard's Best Games, I think. Capablanca's Best Games by Golombek. But they're in the old style notation. Be aware that if it says descriptive notation, this is extremely difficult to read. Algebraic, I'm going to put it in the notes. Algebraic is the modern notation that we use here. So many of the books, if you buy an older book, it will be in descriptive. So namaste, everyone. Please join the dojo for regular training and improvement. I may only stream on weekends, as I mentioned that I have. Yep. And that's what I thought. That's interesting. So we will raid Catherine. Or should we raid the St. Louis Chess Club? Who's at the St. Louis Chess Club? No, I know, I don't know who it is that's at the St. Louis Chess Club, but I do know Catherine, and I should have met her in Singapore. She is friends among my friends. So therefore, please enjoy her insightful commentary. We're not going to raid with one person. Still have 8. Actually, maybe we will, just to get the narrative. Have a truly great day, everybody. Let's roll those ending credits for any of the new follows that I may have missed. And thank you, Infirmum, for being here. Namaste. Have a super great day.